today we are having a masterclass, which is part two. So we had part one on episode 7. Please do check it out. Please do check it out. That's episode 7, where we touched on what are CMOs and how you can take advantage of, you know, using CMOs to earn your royalty as an artist, as a publisher, a new upcoming, new or wannabe publisher or record label owner. So today we will touch on word jargon used in the business of music. Let me repeat, that's word jargon used in the business of music. So I will reference a book called WIPO. It's a book called WIPO. So this book, you can actually get it on Google just by simply searching WIPO. That's WIPO. That stands for World Intellectual Property Organization. Just type W uh, IPO, uh, big capital letter, caps on, and say PDF download. So if you don't get it, then unfortunately, that means it's no longer available for free. That means you have to check it out in the book outlets or the bookstores whatsoever. So I managed to get it back then. I won't say the year, and I'm joking. Back in 2019. Yeah, I managed to get it on Google for free. So this is the book, and the way I take my stuff seriously because I want to learn. I even printed the whole thing, so it's about more than 20 chapters. So I'm gonna touch on just 5 chapters so that you understand the importance of this book. Just quickly, just quick chapters so that you understand the importance of this book as an independent artist, and also someone who wants to own their own record label or publishing company. So there's chapters such as artist development and artist management. So that is also starting a record label, uh, becoming an independent phenogram producer. So a phenogram producer, we're going to touch on the word jargon, right? Remember, today we are talking on the word jargon used in the music of business. Just in case you tuned in, so don't forget to comment by asking any questions. Any questions, please don't forget to comment by asking any question. I'll answer even after this live. And please do subscribe. Please do subscribe. There's more exclusive episodes coming your way. Yeah, this is Masterclass Part 2. The topic is word jargon used in the business of music. So yeah, WIPO, we're back on WIPO now. So yeah, the chapters that are on this booklet called WIPO that I'm referencing and using as my reference today. Topics such as artist development and artist management, starting a record label as an independent phonogram producer. If you want sponsorship and branding and how to brand your label, uh, such information is there in this book called WIPO, and there's also Digital Revolution. Digital Revolution, it touches formally on digital marketing and distribution, the importance of podcast and social networking, how you can actually use that to your advantage to actually grow your community, grow your brand as an independent phonogram producer, as an independent author, as an independent artist. It also touches on the digital revolution chapter. It also touches on digital rights management and technical protection measures. You see, because law is really important. Knowing this is where the money is, in music and just in anything, because you must understand every day the system is designed for it to exist is because of the laws that abide to it. You know, the laws that are connected to it. Because without the laws, there won't be no system. Because the system laws create the system, and the system creates control and sustainability. They say, but yeah. Um, so talking about legalization, there's this thing going on Gusamro, in terms of artists getting their unpaid royalties. So I really touched on something really important, that I got on Google recently. Just a quick recap of what's really going on. What's the whole commotion all about before I actually go into the masterclass, deep into the masterclass. It's crazy, man, that you find artists way back in the 90s and the 80s, they are complaining that they haven't received their royalty earnings since from the 1980s. Just imagine. That is insanely crazy to the core. So yeah, so I saw a video. So this group of artists, like OG artists from the 90s to the 80s, they interrupted this SAMRO. They had a conference going on. They just went in, and this conference had media in it. One of the media that was in it, I think it was Soweto Radio, Soweto TV, between the two, or yeah. So that's where I saw the whole video. So now they just interrupted the whole conference. They went in there, man. They were just shouting, "Good team, I just got 9 rands." There's a lady that just said, "I got 9 rands." You know, recently now, why am I not getting my full royalties since from 1993, 1994? For me, that's really insane. So I'm currently looking for the screenshots I did. So it really breaks it nicely in a nutshell with what's really going on with this unpaid claimed royalties that's going on with Sambro. So it says, so yes, South African artists have recently protested against the South African music rights organization Sambro over long-standing issues of unpaid royalties, alleged corruption, and lack of transparency. Key details of the protest. So these are key details. Recent events. In September 2025, musicians disrupted a Sambro press conference in Johannesburg to demand their outstanding royalties. This led to resignation of Sambro chairperson Nicholas Maweni a week later. Key figures. Kwaito veteran and artist rights advocate Eugene Mtetwa has been a prominent figure in the protests, having previously chained himself inside Samro offices in 2001 and 2023 to demand payment. The people's poet, in quote, Mzwakhe Mbuli, has also called for the dissolution of the Sambro board. So this is really crazy. So the core grievance is unpaid royalties, right? Many artists claim to have not received royalties for years, and some have even passed away before receiving what was due to them. Damn. Okay, that's fraud and mismanagement. A 2023 forensic investigation confirmed that 3.4 million in irregular royalty claims were made by certain members in collusion with former staff. A more recent report from September 2025 revealed 24 million in suspected fraudulent claims related to undocumented works. That's crazy. That's crazy. So now, in terms of lack of transparency, it says that artists and advocacy groups like the Artists United have consistently called for greater transparency and independent oversight of Samro's operation. Now, there is also poor payouts. These are core grievances. Why the artists are actually crying. Why there is this dispute against Sambro in terms of unpaid royalties. So, some artists have taken to social media to complain about receiving only a few cents in royalties after their music has been played. Hmm. eh, their music has been played extensively. So the current status, actually, to just summarize the whole issue, is that the ongoing issue with artists continuing to advocate for structural changes and accountability. Samra has stated it is cooperating with law enforcement and regarding the fraud allegations and is implementing remedial issues. Artists United has also reported a Sambro director to the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, which is SAICA. So yeah, at least there's action been made by Sambro, because personally I don't have any issues with Sambro. So yeah, I just wanted to lay down the matter and just to add clarity to most of the artists that follow this platform and have been wanting to register with Sambro recently, and they couldn't because they've seen in the news what's really been going on with the whole Sambro dispute about unpaid royalties, and all that kind of stuff. So today, let me just get into the topic because now we are 12 minutes in the masterclass. So the topic that we touching on is word jargon used in the business of music. So I'm touching on this book called WIPO. So we're gonna it's quite a number of words. So please bear with me, really bear with me. So I'm gonna try to be boring, yabo, but be audible and at the same time, don't actually irritate your ears, but maybe I bore. But yeah, so yeah, let's begin with the word jargon. So these are the word jargons that are used in the music business. It can be in terms of contracts. It can be just in you sitting with big record label personnels, and you are just confused of the words that are using. You think they mean what they mean, but really they're not meaning what they're meaning. So this is one of the reasons why a lot of artists get used, or rather get exploited, not in a good way but in a wrong way, where at the end of the day they don't get what they deserve in terms of um, um, uh, money, music earnings. So it's as a beginner, it's really important to understand the words used in the music business in order to trick you, the artist, from not actually knowing what's really going on. Yeah. So let's actually begin. So yeah, the first word we're going to touch on is advance. So we know what advance is, right? But now, what WIPO says is that an advance is an amount of money paid to an author or a performer before royalties are earned, and which is usually recoupable against future royalties. Yeah. So aggregator. An aggregator, I can make an example of an aggregator. It can be DistroKid, a platform that you use to upload your music that allows that takes your music to different distribution stores. That's an aggregator, like DistroKid and Enormous. So an aggregator is a digital music aggregator is a person or a business licensing and receiving income from a number of digital music retailers on behalf of an artist or a phonogram producer. So it also, as much as it helps you distribute your music in different um, digital music retailers, like in different digital DSPs, music services. It also collects money for you um, from the digital music retailers to the artist or the phonogram producer. You get it? So an A&R. No, this word is very popular in music, and an A&R. What it really means. So the abbreviation, what A&R really stands for, it means artist and repertoire. So it is artist and repertoire. So remember, it's not from me. These words are not from me. They're from a referenced. They're from a book that I'm referencing called WIPO, that is World Intellectual Property Organization, yo. So yeah, so A&R is artist and repertoire. An A&R person in a phonogram producer's business is the one with responsibility for finding new artists and offering them recording agreements, and who supervises the recordings of artists on behalf of the phonogram producer. So don't ever get it twisted thinking in R is doing this, is doing that, is doing that. And A&R job is to actually find new artists and offering them recording agreements, and who also supervises the recordings of an artist on behalf of the phonogram producer. So we're gonna touch on phonogram producer, but a phonogram producer is a person who makes the beats. That's a phonogram producer. So now an artist. I know you know what an artist is, but it's important to really understand in terms of music business what an artist really stands for. So an artist is a performer who may or may not also be an author. It's that simple. Can I please repeat that? An artist is a performer who may or may not also be an author. So I'm referencing a book called WIPO. So today, if you just joined in, we are touching on with jargon used in the business of music. Yeah, this is the masterclass part two of the Be Happy Central live show. Hope everybody's doing great. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. So make sure you do comment if you have any questions in terms of what we are currently touching on, and just to ask, if you have any concerns about certain things that you're not clear of. It can be, in regards to royalty earnings that you're not clear of with some of the CMOs that you in 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 work relations with in terms of your music and distribution. So yeah. So now we have touched on uti artist artist. So now we are going to touch on an author. An author is a person or entity who creates a work. This can be the creator of the musical composition, the musical arrangement, or the lyrics, or a combination of any of them. In some countries, interpreters of lyrics may also qualify as an author. Interesting. So if you interpret certain lyrics, maybe in a different language, maybe let's say lyrics in English, and you're from, let me say, Portugal, maybe Mozambique, yeah, and I translate the English lyrics into what's this? Portuguese, or what's this? What's this? Shona. Yeah. So you actually earn. You actually earn. So that and you are also considered as, actually not considered but qualify as an author if you someone who can interpret lyrics. And yeah, As we continue now, we're gonna talk about back end income. Remember, we touched on what an advance is. Now we're gonna touch on what a back end income is. So an advance is money that you get prior before actually making sales from the creation of the music itself, you know. And now a back end income is income based on results rather than from an initial and advance, the opposite of front loaded. So an advance is like front loaded. So this one is back end loaded type of income. So it's called back end income. It's income based on results rather than from an initial advance. So it's money that you make after the product has been created in terms of the music has been created. That's where you know recoup money from when the music is already making money. So in an advance, but in advance it's different. It's when you know get the money before making the actual income, which is considered as front loaded income. Yeah, I'm told. Yeah. So now we're gonna move to booking agent. So I try to select words that are really that you won't get confused of, like, and you never get confused of, you know, words that you actually are familiar with. You know, I was just looking for the right word there. So now it's booking agent. So what is a booking agent? We know what is a booking agent, but what does WIPO say in terms of the language of uh, uh, music and business music? No, music, business in music. Yeah. So booking agent is someone who interfaces. Yeah, is someone who interfaces with promoters and venues on behalf of an artist in order to secure live performance bookings. It's that simple. So there's a difference between a manager and a booking agent. You know, so a booking agent is someone who actually represent an artist, um, talking to promoters and you know venue owners in terms of my live performance bookings. You know, so yeah, that's a booking agent's role play, nothing else. So bootlegger. So a bootlegger normally we know them as pirates, piratas, you know, people who use your music without your authorization. Actually, who use your music illegally. So bootleggers is someone who illegally manufactures and or sells copyright and related protected recordings and works or copyright protected merchandise without a license, and who makes no payment to the legitimate copyright or related rights holder. So guys, I hope the episode is very informative, because Nami, as I'm reading here, I am learning. It's some of the words here I really thought they meant what they I thought they meant, but really when it comes to music and business, it's a totally different interpretation, you know. So now we're gonna touch on cleared. Cleared. What does cleared mean in terms of with jargons in the business of music? So cleared when the rights in a work is a song. A work is a song. So when the rights in a work or a performance have been authorized for use by the legitimate rights holders. So let's say you've been signed under a certain record label, and for 3 years, and you did your thing, you know, but you're not happy with the payments and stuff like that, and you terminate the contract. Then now you going, you claim that the record label owes you. So now, and also you want to clear your masters, you know, clear your masters, so you're able to own them back, like fully own them back from the record label that signed you. uh, all the masters coming back to you so that you fully earn your royalties, you know. So the word cleared means that. So when you're able to recoup that after winning, uh, after the whole court thing, you win if it goes to that extent. But if it goes to an extent of just you sit with the board of the record label owners and you just negotiate, and if it works, it works. Then they clear your works. They meaning that all your music now belongs back to you fully so, and they can't use it anymore for their own specific benefits, you know. So cleared means that. So now we're gonna touch on SMO. So we already know what SMO is, but for the people who don't know what SMO is, SMO simply means, it's an abbreviation that simply means collective management organization. It's collective management organizations like your SAMRO, Capasso, Sampra, Mushito, yeah, Mbasa, yeah, man. Those are our, or RISA, those are our CMOs, our collective management organization, the people who collect our royalties internationally and locally. So, from different music users, and licensed um, um, digital libraries, toll, or let me rather say um, DSPs, different DSPs across the world and even locally. So they help in collecting those royalties for us. I'm an artist. So another one, compilation album. What does a compilation album? We know what what it really means, but what does it say in terms of music? In terms of it being used in the business of music, So it says an album comprising a collection of recorded tracks by different artists. Nizwil, an album comprising a collection of recorded tracks by different artists, not one artist, but different artists. So that's a compilation album. Eh? Yes. Then a cover, a performance by a performer who is not the author of the musical work. So a cover is that someone who performs someone else's song, and they performing it, them not being the owner of that work. Work, remember, is considered to be a song in the language of 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 music business. Cover record, a recording by a performer who's not the author of the musical work contained in the recording. Okay, I mean it means the same thing, cover and cover record, pure period. Okay, now we're going to talk about pure period, a provision in a contract which allows a defaulting party to correct the default within a defined time period after being notified by the other party. Cure period is a provision in a contract which allows a defaulting party to correct the default within a defined time period after being notified by the other party involved in the contract. That's a pure cure period. Now we're going to move into distribution, a business that distributes sound recordings and or audiovisual recordings on behalf of owners or licensees of sound recordings and audiovisual recordings. Distributor. So distributor, I recorded is your Able, Amazon, um, okay, Netflix is part of it. Netflix also, YouTube also. When you talk about multimedia and audiovisual, we know Spotify. You know the genes. You know. So yeah, that's the distributor. Now we on to domain name. What's a domain name? A domain name is a string of letters, numbers, and hyphens that are used to define the location of a website. Domain names are used as pointers to IP addresses, e.g., www.wipo.int or www.bobmarley.com. You know, so that's a domain name. Then something that we so normally used to as an artist and normally that we talk about is called something that's called an EPK, which is an electronic press kit. You know, when when SABC wants, or any traditional broadcasting um or organization wants, like an EPK, when they say we need your latest release, we need your EPK. So when they talk about EPK, they be talking about an electronic press kit. You get it? So this usually includes a biography, still photographs, and a video interview with the artist, sometimes called a DPK, digital press kit. So it's a digital press kit that really summarizes your whole brand in one, you know? What are the interesting juices about your brand? Let's put it on an EPK format. You know what I mean? So that's what an EPK really stands for, an electronic press kit. So don't ever get it confused. You're just taking the little bit of words that we normally use as artists, as record label owners, as publish owners, or as independent artists in general, and actually making you understand what they really mean. So now we're going to touch on equitable remuneration. Equitable remuneration. So it's fair, usually equal but not necessarily. Remuneration between two rights holders who are entitled to share single payment. That can be a composer and a author. That means a beat maker and the one who wrote the song. You know, they share equitable remuneration, so it's fair splits. Between two right holders who are entitled to share single payments, who are entitled to share from the song, from because they were both involved in terms of beat making, in terms of writing. So now we're gonna talk about exclusive. It means not divided or share with others. That is exclusive. So when they talk about exclusive contract, that's what they really mean. So when they talk about exclusive rights, they talk about the holder of an exclusive right as the power to authorize or prohibit certain actions or use. So going back to clearing your rights. So whenever after you have cleared your rights with a certain record label or a publisher, now you are back to being the exclusive right holder who has the exclusive power to authorize or prohibit certain actions or use from any external source that wants to exploit your music, without your authorization. You hold them with the suing amount. Maybe 1 meter lapha yabo, hayi abaxolile phela. Abaxolile 1 meter lapho, 2 meters, something. Ngiyangibamba? Yeah, so that it becomes really worth your time in suing them, ngiyangibamba? Because value the exclusive rights owner, so you have the full rights to do that. So now we're going to touch on extended placing. Extended placing, I repeat. A single with extra tracks so that it falls between a single and an album in length, sometimes called an EP. Yo, this is the first time actually knowing this. I thought an EP is something else, like a short episode, like, but it really doesn't mean that. It actually means extended play single, meaning that it's a single with extra tracks that it falls between a single and an album in length, sometimes called an EP, meaning when they say it falls in between an album or a single in length, meaning that It's not long. It's not really that short. Yeah, I'm told it's precisely to the number of minutes that is really reasonably reasonable to actually listen and actually without getting too irritated. So yeah, now we're going to touch on front loaded agreement. So front loaded agreement, I think it really now comes back to what do they call it, Bonje? Uh, what do they call it? 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 Oh, it comes back to the back end income. The income based on results rather than from an initial advance. I'm told. So yeah, we are here front loaded agreement. No. Back end, yeah. An agreement where there is a substantial initial advance rather than one where most of the income is based on results. Oh, back ended. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is more of an advance than it is a back ended income. Yeah, because back-ended incomes depends on results, and the front-loaded agreement. Well, we can say also a front-loaded income substantially. It's based on you know getting the income way before receiving the results. Yeah. So now we're gonna touch on front of house engineer. Front of house engineer, the engineer responsible for mixing the sound that the audience will hear through the PA system. That's a front of house engineer. So if you're into events management, you know, if you wanna be a tour artist, you gotta get WIPO. You gotta get WIPO. You gotta get WIPO. So another word is heads of agreement. A brief summary of the main points of an agreement without the legal detail. Okay, a brief summary of the main points of an agreement without the legal detail. Oh, that's a heads of agreement. So it's very short without a lot of conditions, that you need to adhere to and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a heads of agreement. It's a brief summary of the main parts of an agreement without the legal detailing. The boilerplate, the boilerplate. Yeah. Now we're gonna touch on intellectual property. What intellectual property really stands for. So intellectual property, normally known as IP, is a non-tangible product of the intellect. Sikhuluma ngengqondo, that has commercial value, including copyrighted property such as literary. Literary means writings, musical or artistic works, and ideational property, meaning ideas, maybe names, certain names that you have, or an idea of an event. You need to protect that IP, that idea. It's important, such as patents, yeah, business methods and industrial processes. So that that is what we call intellectual property, which we normally say IP, you know, as an abbreviation. So yeah, so don't get it confused. Intellectual property means that. So now we're gonna touch on also in perpetuate in perpetuity. It's in Gesi. In perpetuity. That's the name. So in perpetuity, it means something that lasts for life or forever. In copyright terms, it refers to the full length of copyright protection permitted by law. Life of copyright. So in perpetuity means life of a copyright. So whenever you see that in a contract, just know it stands for life of a copyright. Just imagine in perpetuity, you mean it's something else. Like it's something, oh, you think it's something else, but it really stands for life of a copyright, nothing else. So let's move on to other words, which is we're gonna touch on now. Interactive streaming, interactive streaming. So streaming, wherein a member of the public can access a specific recording or work at a time and a place of their choosing, sometimes referred to as non-linear streaming. Okay. Let me repeat that. It's streaming wherein a member of the public can access a specific recording or work at a time and a place of their own choosing. That's interactive streaming. It can be YouTube. The methods, you can just go on YouTube and stream whatever you want to stream, pause whenever you want to, rewind whenever you want to, or whenever you're using Netflix. Those streaming platforms are called interactive streaming platforms. And when they are non-interactive streaming platforms, that means we are talking more based on SABC, more based on the traditional media way. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, now we touching on licensing. So, licensing. When rights owners authorize the use of their rights to third parties under certain conditions while it's retaining ownership of their rights. So, licensing allows you the benefit of a being able to rent out your services, or let me just say rent out your music to certain music users. Like for example, maybe if what Clover wants to add your music in one of their advertisements in terms of their products, maybe their newly established products. That's when they need to pay. If your music is licensed, they need to pay a licensing fee. So that's why it's so important for you to license and really copyright your music with the RISA and the other relevant organizations that you need to register with in terms of CMOs. Yeah. So that's licensing and licensing. Now, a licensee is a person or business that licenses a right from a right owner, licensor under certain conditions. So, a licensee is someone who's like I said, someone who's like your Clover, who is a licensee that wants to use your music, who you are from the right owner, who's the licensor, under certain conditions. Yeah, I'm told. That is one of the conditions is paying a certain fee. Yeah, well, pay a number of minutes the music plays in a certain ad. You get my point. So yeah, that's a licensee. Then a licensor is a right owner who licenses the use of the rights under certain conditions to another person or business who is a licensee. So a linear streaming platform is streaming wherein a member of the public has no control as to which recording or work is being streamed. So an interactive streaming platform is a platform where you can just tap and have control over, like YouTube, like Netflix. You can just rewind, pause whenever you want to. That's an interactive streaming platform, which is more non-linear, young Tola, because now linear streaming means that a member of the public has no control as to which recording or work is being streamed. Young Tola, so like your SAPCs, you don't have control. When you are a DSTV user, you don't have control, right? When Showmax is a non-linear, it's an interactive platform. So yeah, those are the two differences between the interactive streaming platform, which is more non-linear. It's more of a non-linear streaming platform, and the linear streaming platform. which is you don't have any control, you know. Yeah, so let's move on to another wording, which is making available. So making available is the exclusive rights for authors, performers, and phonogram producers to authorize or prohibit the interactive use of their works or recordings by wire or wireless means via the internet, such that members of the public may access a work or recording from a place and at a time individually chosen by them. Making available means that. Means so you as the author, composer, phonogram producer, are you the full right, exclusive right to actually make available so that the public, they can actually individually have access over the recording or work that you have made available for them. So, what is a manager? A true meaning of a manager is an artist. An artist manager is a person who manages an artist's business affairs and an artist's career, right? Then we go to manufacturer, a business that creates the physical copies of recordings for sale and or distribution to the public. Then we go to master recording, the finished, mixed, and mastered version of a recording. Did you hear that? Master recording is the finished, mixed, and mastered version of a recording, nothing else. So now we go to master reuse license, a license issued by a phonogram producer, the beat maker, or a performer, or by whoever holds the related rights in a particular sound recording for the right to use the sound recording in conjunction with visual images in a film, television production, a video game, or an advertisement. Master reuse license, Yeah, so it's the reusing, is the reusing of the sound in terms of visual imaging in a film, in a television production, or a video game, or an advertisement. That's master reusing license. It's a license that allows you to really reuse and actually make your money off just gigs and music streams. Mechanical license. What does mechanical license really mean? So royalties paid by owners or licensees of sound recordings to the copyright owners of musical works, or a CMO representing the copyright owner for the mechanical rights, which is normally a Capasso in South Africa, for the right to record, copy, and distribute works in such recordings. Mechanical royalties. So, mechanical royalties, in short, are online royalties, meaning that money that you make through your online streams, and also can be money that you make through the usage of your music, through advertisements, promotions by other organizations or other licensees as the license owner. I'm told as the exclusive license owner. So yeah, we're gonna touch on mediation, a dispute settlement process wherein both parties mutually agree to appoint a mediator who facilitates a settlement between the parties that may both agree to. So a mediator is involved whenever there's like a disagreement. So he's able to mediate the whole process. It can be a negotiation, or you want maybe wanna clear your music because you're not happy of the record label that you've been working for so many years, and you just want to clear your music with them and get your masters back so that you're able to fully earn from your music, in terms of royalties, licensing fees, and just exploitation as a whole. So a mediator helps mediate the process so that at the end of the day, you and the parties in agreement are able to to settle your disputes correctly on, or have a clear, um, well, well, I'm looking for the right word to use. Have a clear, well processed negotiation, um, no, they have a clear and a good negotiation process. Yeah. So a merchandiser is a person or a business who sells an artist's merchandising products to the public on behalf of the artist. Huh, that's a merchandiser, guys. That's the true meaning of a merchandiser when it comes to word jargons in the business of music. So that is merchandiser. Now, merchandising is the sale of T-shirts, books, CDs, and other artifacts relating to an artist at the venue where an artist is playing live or through a website or a retail outlet. So when you say you have a merchandise, this is what it means. You know? Yeah, so this is what it means. This is what it means. Nothing else. Don't ever get it confused. Don't ever get it confused. So it's important for, as much as y'all are watching and actually, enjoying um this live broadcast. I can see by the comments. Thank you so much for the comments. See ya. I see you. Yeah, I see you. I see you guys. I see you. Thank you so much for actually commenting. Yeah. So as much as you're watching and actually enjoying this masterclass, part 2, please do also make time to also do your own research, and really get yourself into this thing, man. Understand how the business of music works, so that you don't become one of the artists who are, crying over not getting paid off their royalties whatsoever. Because sometimes we might blame, SAMRO or the collection management organization. Sometimes it's just, us not knowing or having the right information from the beginning, way back when we started in 19 Kupangamadolo. Now it's 2025, things have changed, times have changed, so it's important for us to really um, get ourselves into such information and knowing such information. And it starts with knowing the laws of music and knowing the words, using the same laws in order to exploit our artists, because they know our artists, they just focused on creating music, the creative side of things, but the business side of things galala. Yabo? So a minimum commitment, the minimum number of works or recordings required to be submitted or released during each contract period. Hmm. So a minimum commitment is the minimum number of works or recordings required to be submitted or released during each contract period. Mixing engineer, the engineer responsible for mixing the separate tracks of recording, mixing the separate tracks of recording in a studio, resulting in a master recording. Remember what's a master recording, right? If you can come back, a master recording is the finished, mixed, and mastered version of a recording, right? Now it's a mixing engineer. So a mixing engineer is the one in charge to make sure that you have a master recording, which is the last end. It's the last thing that you do after you've done recording your song, so that it becomes that quality high end song. So a mixing engineer is in charge of that. They are responsible for mixing the separate tracks, which is the beat and the vocals and the other relevant sounds or whatsoever complementary, detailing there that suits the track or the recording in a studio, resulting in a master recording. You know, so, a monitor engineer, an engineer who ensures that performing artists can adequately hear their stage performance and the stage of performances of other playing with them by way of on-stage monitor speakers or in-ear radio monitoring system. So a monitor engineer, whenever you do your sound checking, this is the person you need to focus on, the monitor engineer, the one that is on the either side of the control room, while you're on the stage, the one that you normally face directly, you know. So which is the monitor engineer that makes that, oh, that wenza sure ukuthi the sounds that come from the mic, that are projected from the mic to the speakers, are clear. You know, they are high quality, they are high end quality. You know, very audible sound. So a monitor engineer is in charge of that. So in charge of that. So a music supervision. What's a music supervision? Is a person who has the responsibility to find the clear, suitable music and manage the music for a film, television, production, video game, or an advertisement. Yeah? Hope you get it. Hope you get that. I hope you get that. I hope you get that. Okay, I think now I need to do this. Oh, there's more. Hey, there's a lot of them, yo. I think I need to do like part 2 for this one. But I think I'm gonna end it now. Yeah, I'm gonna end it now. Let me just do 5 more words, then I end it. So what is a phenogram? A phenogram is an audio only fixation of a performance or other sounds. Ne? Then a phonogram producer is an entity that holds the related rights in a recording and exploits that recording by way of advertising, promotion, and distribution for sale to the public, sometimes referred to as a record company or record label. That's a phonogram producer. Then there's this word called option. This word is normally used in contracts, and it's very confusing. So it means that the right of a phonogram producer or of a publisher to, okay, in this case, a phonogram producer can be a record label, yeah, or a publisher to future recordings or works at their discretion, usually accompanied by a further advance to the performer or author. It's an option. Shuti, it's an option for record labels and publishers to use ispan sakho, umculo wakho at their own discretion. Yeah, I'm trying, like, noma kanjani, exclusively so. Not non-exclusively, but exclusively so. Yeah. So let me see PD now, production company, promoter. So a promoter, let me touch on the promoter one. So someone who engages an artist to appear live at a venue and is responsible for organizing, advertising, and selling tickets for the event, as well as paying the artist for such a performance. That's a promoter slash event organizer slash event manager slash um, founder of the event. That's the promoter. Yeah. Then Then we have the plugger. Is someone who is paid to try and persuade a radio or a TV station to play a record. So, as an artist, it's important to not just have a manager, but also to have a plugger, someone who talk for you, actually, not even negotiate, but persuade. Yeah, plugger persuades, like your record, not record label, like your radios to actually play music. Irregardless, bayathanda abathandi, a plugger is someone who really wins a show that really happens. So it's important as an artist you have a plugger as much as you have an artist. Yeah, I'm taught. So you need a plugger. You need a plugger, definitely. You need a plugger. So we're gonna touch on publishing agreement. So what is a publishing agreement? We know what is a publishing agreement, right? It's an agreement um, between a publisher and an artist, or a publisher and the beat maker or composer. So what does WIPO say? So WIPO says that a publishing agreement is whereby an author licenses or assigns the works they create to a music publisher for commercial exploitation of those works. That's what a publishing agreement stands for. It's an assignment between an author or artist and the music publisher to commercialize their works, it's really through exploitation. Yeah, I'm talking. So that's what publishing an agreement really means. So now we're going to talk about recoupment, what it really means. The point at which the royalties earned under an agreement equal the advances and other recoupable costs. Yang the point at which the royalties earned under an agreement equal the advances and recoupable costs. Right? Yes. I hope you get that. So it means when the royalties that you have made, they equal the advances that you got from the record label that you signed with, the advances that you got, from the recoverable that you've signed with, and the other recoupable costs. Yeah, I'm talking. So now, meaning that you're at the point in your career whereby after taking that advance and and making the other costs, you are able now to pay them back because now they are equivalent to the amounts. Yeah, I'm talking. So now it's where you have a choice to leave or continue. You know, but you have options. So yeah, guys, I think okay, let's end it with royalties. So what are royalties? So royalties are compensation payments made to an author, performer, or other entities for each use or sale of work, recording, or merchandise item by a publisher, phonogram producer, computer game manufacturer, or merchandise, etc. A royalty is expressed as a percentage of receipts or as a payment for each unit sold. Yes, this is episode 20 of the Be Happy Central live show, and today we had a beautiful master class, part two, talking talking all about word jargon usage in the business of music. I was referencing a book called WIPO World Intellectual Property Organization that I personally got from by searching on Google. That is WIPO PDF download, and I got it, and I personally made hard copies for it because I take my shit seriously, yo. I take my shit seriously. This is one of the files. There's more files, This is chapter 17 of one of the files. So there's like more than 20 chapters in this book. Just imagine the number of pages that I've printed out so that I'm able to share this beautiful information with you, and I'm able to actually have it till forever. Because this is my little Bible. This is my little Bible. So yeah, man, thank you so much for everyone who commented, for everyone tuned in. I hope this was a really informative, really insightful episode, which is masterclass part two. So if you haven't watched part one of the masterclass, where we touched on what is CMOs and what are the advantages that you can take to actually make money off, being members of ECMOs, the laws that are related to royalty remuneration. Yeah, understanding what is mechanical rights, what is little time rights, what is performance rights, and how do they correlate with the CMOs, which is the collection management organizations that are in existence here in South. This is part two of the master class. Topic was with usages in the business of music, and we were referencing WIPO. Hope everybody's having a beautiful Saturday. It's been 1 hour and a couple of minutes in, and yeah, man. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment on this video if you have anything to share with us. And I just hope that SAMRO really fix the situation with the unpaid royalty dispute. It's really saddening. It's really saddening. They need to fix this issue, Isambra, because it's really hard. It's really a challenge to be an artist, in South Africa and in general in the world, because there's so much exploitations involved in Guma artists, and more especially if you don't know your ish, you are mostly vulnerable to be, either destroyed, demolished, or used throughout the rest of your career. So I personally don't want that for anybody, as much as I don't want it for myself. Hence why I'm having this beautiful masterclass with y'all to make sure that you are aware of some of the little bit details, that are really important for us to actually look into and to improve our wellness, in terms of a music business. My name is Happy with the V, because the V stands for peace. We are high, visual, passionate people and young. The show is called Be Happy Central Live Show. That's why I say hashtag Be Happy. Peace out. Have a beautiful Sabbath. Love you guys. I'm out.